Hey, World Cruisers. It's Thursday, August 15th, 2024. We're on the Ultimate World Cruise, and we're cruising in the fjords of western Norway toward the city of Olden. And this is a, a time lapse of us sailing in at sunrise. I got up at sunrise, started the camera on the patio of or the balcony of our room, and just left it running until we got back into Olden, which is actually a couple of hours back in the fjords. We didn't have any idea for the beauty that we were about to experience this day. Having spent the last few days in cities, this just this was mind-boggling. The beauty of this country in Norway up around the fjords. So we hopped on a bus. We we complained a little bit that we're going to have to spend 8 hours on a bus today because we usually don't spend that long, but it was so worth it. We're traveling to the interior. Uh, Here we're still along the fjords, but we're going to travel up to what looked like the top of the world, for sure, the top of Norway. And you're going to see some glaciers and some scenery that is just almost indescribably beautiful. Now, remember, it's the middle of summertime here. They get maybe, 4 months of 3 to 4 months of warm weather. There's still snow up in this country that we're headed to, but this is the nicest time of the year here. Otherwise, it's pretty bitter and cold in the winter, but we again hit a really beautiful day. So you can tell that we're still down low because there are trees. In Norway, I think the tree line is somewhere around only 2,500 feet because of the harshness of the climate. They just can't survive, I guess, the cold winters up at altitude. But this just show you what the countryside looks like. Look at the reflection of the mountains on the water there. It was such a beautiful day. But you can see what the houses look like. There's very few people in this part of the country. The population density is like almost nothing. Again, Norway has been independent since about 1904, 1905, I think. They've been alternately ruled by Denmark and Sweden, but the people are very proud. So here we got this is a lake. Now we're up at some altitude and see those glaciers up there on the left. We thought, oh boy, we get to see some glaciers. See, there's two of them right there now in the middle of the screen up there, kind of sliding down the hill, feeding this beautiful lake. I went down and tested the water, and it is ice cold, but it has the tint of being glacier fed, kind of a bluish tint. Notice up here that's very popular to have grass roofs on the houses, and they do it a special way. They use, I think they said birch bark. They put a layer of birch bark down because it's waterproof, and then they put two layers of grass on, one growing upside down, one growing right side up, and it ends up being waterproof and also insulates very well. So you can see these rental houses or hotel rooms here all have grass roofs on them. So now we start the climb. That is a lake you're looking at there. That's no longer the fjords. We're going to start the climb up to the top of the world, certainly the top of Norway, for a really breathtaking view. It's like seeing the Grand Canyon for the first time. So here we are up at about somewhere between 5 and 6,000 feet of elevation. There's glaciers as far as you can see. And notice there's no trees up here. We're up past the tree line because it's such a harsh climate in the wintertime. but you're going to be looking down at the Geringer Fjord in a minute. You can see all the way down 5,000 feet to the fjord. It's a spectacular view, breathtaking. It's very windy up here, so I had to turn the volume down, or else it would make too much noise in the background. They're looking over to the right side now. You're going to be able to see the fjord down there in just a minute. So about 95% of the power of Norway that comes from hydro plants, because they have so many glaciers and so much water. There you can see the fjord right down there. Now it's on the right. There's two white specks down there. Those are two ships. There's a Cunard Line Queen Anne and a Viking Line ship in that fjord called Geringer. And we're going to go down there and eventually have lunch at the hotel where the Princess of Norway is getting married at on the 31st of this month. So we actually saw her in the hotel while we were having lunch today. So we had lunch with the princess, we could say. But there's the fjord down there. Uh, just absolutely gorgeous. There's a couple of more viewpoints. Okay, this is a sheer cliff behind Mark and Jane there. Drops down a couple thousand feet. And again, it's the fjord in the background in the middle of the picture back there, those two white ships sitting there. But this road is only open for a few months of the year. You can see there's still a fair amount of snow up there, even in their summertime, and the glaciers, of course. So now we're on our way down the mountain. Uh, More glaciers and another lake down there you can see. And we're going to stop at a small hotel that you can see the hotel down there right in the middle of the screen on this end of the lake. And we're going to stop down there for a quick peek at the lake. Again, to give you an idea of the immense amount of fresh water they have to be able to generate power with. Yeah, it's a little bit windy. There's a hotel off that you can see the hotel off to the right. Now on our way down further, we found some waterfalls. We thought, oh boy, those are beautiful. There's so many waterfalls in these mountains draining into the fjords. They're all over the place. There's a closer view of Geringer Fjord with the two ships. The one closest is the Cunard Queen Anne, and the farthest one is a Viking ship. I didn't get the name of it. This is that looking out towards the ocean on that Geringer Fjord. There's actually a ferry that comes up here to this little town. And this waterfall is called, it's OVSTE, Ovsti Falls. And I don't know, they could generate a lot of power from the water that's falling down this one. It's just beautiful. That's all glacier water. Dropping down eventually and going into the ocean in the fjords. You see it's misty from the waterfall there. A little bit of water on the camera lens. Now we're heading out. This is the sail out. Again, time-lapse photography with the camera on the on the balcony of our stateroom, just so you get an idea of how beautiful this fjord is. There's little villages and houses all along it. It's it's again breathtaking, spectacular. So that's the interior of Norway and the fjords. And tomorrow we're headed for Allison, Norway, which is a little bit farther north on the west coast of Norway, but not so far back in. It's not back in the fjords like Olden was. That's such beauty, just hard to describe. So stay tuned tomorrow, and we'll show you what we see in Allison.